After several weeks of not only not running, but nursing a foot injury, I went out to a crushed gravel trail in sandals and set a personal best mile on accident. What was my secret? Come a little closer. Reading this book specifically, and just trying out what I was told. In this video, I'm going to talk about how this $10 investment, well, $10 for the Kindle version, $24 for the physical copy, that I made in my running life has forever improved the way I run. And after that, I'll tell you what I think is totally wrong with this book and why. So just a lightning fast background on how the heck I came across this book. Spring 2022. I'm enthusiastically attempting my first half marathon distance run along a local path in my thin as crepes Shama Warriors. Around mile 8, I'm pretty sure my form got sloppy and I power stomped some gravel, leading me to not only walking back to my car, but also having to put running on hold for several weeks with metatarsal pain. To make the most of the downtime, I decided to dive into some running technique education, looking for what advice could keep me injury-free. A search for running books on injury reduction unearthed this gem. Older Yet Faster, The Secret to Running Fast and Injury-Free by Keith Bateman and Heidi Jones. And yes, I immediately judged this book by its cover. Here you'll see a white-headed dude with a better body than mine and his smiling co-author literally flying down a path. See, their feet aren't even touching the dang ground. I'm not an older runner per se at 35 years old, but that bit about running injury-free, well, that sold me. Especially if it's being sold to me by a handsome grandfatherly fella I hope to be like someday. As I dove into who the heck these folks actually are and what they've accomplished, I was pretty floored. Keith Bateman is an English transplant to Australia who holds 5 world records in the over 55-year-old age group, including a 4:35 mile and a sub-32-minute 10K. And you're probably thinking, dang, what kind of orthotics is Grandpa running in? Yeah. So yeah, not only is he smashing world records for how far and how fast white hairs can run, but he does it barefoot most of the time. And just who is his co-author? Well, Heidi Jones, in addition to being Keith's wife, is also a runner with quite literally an elite track record and is a world-renowned podiatrist specializing in treating running-specific injuries, not with injections and expensive orthotics, but with exercise, technique adjustments, and working to get folks in less shoe rather than more. I mean, her advice got me back to running in just a few weeks' time, but more on that a bit later. Okay, enough about the authors. Let's look at what Older Yet Faster is all about. I would not say that Older Yet Faster is a book to skim for running tips for existing runners. I know, that's what I thought it would be for me as well. After reading it and applying what I've learned to my running and health, I would say it's pretty much an entirely different approach to running, a method free of gimmicks that's as wildly effective as it is simple. Keith's running methodology really hinges on one central idea. Most problems with running can be associated with overstriding. For those that are a little new to running, overstriding is when your foot takes on a load in front of your forward momentum, such as what happens in a heel strike situation. Keith teaches readers and video viewers, there are exclusive videos included, but I'll talk more about that in a sec, that show how overstriding not only robs us of effort and speed, but is also the main culprit behind injuries. The rest of the book is basically a user's manual to the runner's body on how to pretty much forget everything else you know about running and how to rebuild your technique with the intent of wiping out overstriding wherever it rears its ugly head. Keith takes you through how to hold your body and use the natural springiness, that's a word, right? Of your tendons and ligaments in addition to underutilized muscle groups to maximize movement efficiency. The weirdest part about all of this is that I think that his entire methodology could be consumed and applied in a weekend. He said himself that sometimes he only needs 1 or 2 sessions with his coaching clients to help completely rebuild their running technique. I wouldn't be telling everyone that, Keith. So yeah, it's not rocket surgery. I've gone through this book and program a few times, and I'm convinced that Keith simply possesses the video game cheat codes that allow folks to run more efficiently and in a way that reduces injury. Oh, and did I mention faster? I'll talk more about that part when I get to my own application of the book's advice. So what the heck is the rest of the book? One of my favorite aspects of this book is that it's really two books in one. Firstly, how to rebuild your running technique, and secondly, how to fix and maintain your body so you can apply all of this without hurting yourself. That's where Heidi comes in. Heidi Jones is Keith's better half and a podiatrist, unlike any podiatrist I've ever heard of, in that she treats the causes of injuries rather than treating every problem like it's a lifelong condition in need of palliative care. I know, pretty mind-blowing, right? As Keith's better half, her wisdom almost takes up half the better half of this book. With strengthening exercises, massage techniques, and a wealth of other running-specific health advice that readers can apply immediately. There's even an entire section in the back for podiatrists on how to treat runners. Yikes! The need for that section makes me nervous about ever seeing a podiatrist for running problems. So after reading this book and using Heidi's tips to reduce pain from metatarsalgia, I popped my Shama Warriors back on and went to a different but similar crushed gravel track. And after going through a few of Keith's balance finding drills and figuring out how to tap into the elastic recoil of my own feet and legs, I started to run. And I immediately noticed two things. One, man, this makes running a lot easier. And two, wait, I was going how fast? You see, coming from the world of barefoot style running, where half of those runners look like they're traveling on a track across hot coals, I tried Keith's alternative barefoot style method, in which hang time is encouraged. After bouncing on individual legs with a whole foot landing, yes, that means my heel made contact with the ground for the first time in my running life, I shifted my dormant leg springs from neutral into drive and took off down the trail, using each landing to compress and load the springs, which continued to shoot me forward at a familiar cadence, but a much longer stride because of the hang time I was achieving between landings. It was like nothing I had experienced before. I shaved over a minute off of my average pace while keeping my heart rate lower, all while not even really trying to do so. That's another weird thing about Keith's running methodology. It actually makes running slower trickier. This isn't to say that it makes running harder. My mile PR time still had a sub 140 heart rate, but because of the efficient nature of the forward momentum of the body, sometimes a comfortable pace may still be faster than you'll want to travel. I'll admit that this has been somewhat of a problem when I run trails, as I find myself going faster than I probably should be going for the terrain. But when it comes to road races, such as my most recent one, I was really surprised to find myself in the top 8%, when I really never actively train for speed. I'm usually just happy to make it around a trail loop without tripping on something. When it comes to comparing the value of running investments, I would say that Older Yet Faster has been my greatest one yet, even after buying both the Kindle and the print version. In addition to a book that I keep handy for drills, exercises, and all sorts of information about building technique, purchasing the book also grants you access to exclusive video demonstrations of all of Keith's running drills and Heidi's strength and mobility building exercises, which alone are worth the price of admission. Also, you get access to a private readers Facebook group where you can ask Keith and Heidi questions or even have them analyze video footage of your running and tell you where you can improve. What other running coach or podiatrist is going to give you professional advice for the price of a book? So what is the aspect of this book that I feel is nonsense? Well, the title. But I fear that this title really turns off an entire community of runners. If you can't tell by my increasingly white beard, I'm okay with seeming old, but many aren't ready to identify as such, and the wisdom in this book isn't just for older runners, it's for everyone. But then again, I'm sure they have their reasons. Well, that's about all I have on this wonderful tool in my running toolbox. If this review has been helpful and you want to pick up a copy for yourself, I have an affiliate link to buy this book in the description of this episode. Using this link doesn't cost you anything more and helps me build out this channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Ken, reminding you to keep movement fun.